Hello, dear children, and welcome back to the class. Dear friends, today in this section, we are going to learn about the displacement chemical reaction. What is a displacement chemical reaction? A displacement reaction is the one where the atom or a set of atoms is displaced by another atom in a molecule. When iron is added to copper sulfate solution, it displaces the copper metal. Such a type of reaction where the one metal displaces the another one, it is said to be the displacement chemical reaction. There are two types of displacement chemical reaction: single displacement reaction and double displacement reaction. Single displacement reaction, it is also called as single replacement reaction. Nothing but a kind of oxidation reduction chemical reaction. When an ion or element moves out of a compound, that is, one element is replaced by the other in a compound. When chlorine is added in its gaseous form or as a gas dissolved in water to the solution of sodium bromide, the chlorine acquires the place of bromine. Since chlorine is more reactive than bromine, it displaces bromine from sodium bromide and the solution turns blue. The brown color is the bromine that is displaced. If you notice the equation, you can see that the chlorine and bromine have swapped their original place, chlorine plus sodium bromide, to form sodium chloride and bromide. This is nothing but the single displacement reaction. Now let's see the double displacement reaction. Dear children, double displacement reactions occur when a part of two ionic compounds are exchanged and make two new compounds. Double displacement reactions take place mostly in aqueous solutions where the ion precipitate and exchange of ions takes place. For example, when a solution of barium chloride is mixed with sodium sulfate, a white precipitate of barium sulfate is formed rapidly. These reactions are ionic in nature. Reactants get transformed into ions when dissolved in water, and exchange of ions occur in the solution, results in the formation of a product molecule. Dear children, now we are going to talk about the chemical reactions which occurred in our surrounding medium. These chemical reactions are broadly classified into two types: endothermic chemical reaction and exothermic chemical reaction. Heat is absorbed and given away in various processes. Heat from outside is absorbed during some physical changes. For example, melting of ice, dissolution of potassium nitrate in water. These all processes nothing but the endothermic chemical processes. On the other hand, heat is given away during some physical changes. For example, formation of ice from water, dissolution of sodium hydroxide in water. Therefore, such chemical reactions where the heat is given away is said to be exothermic processes. In the process of dissolution of concentrated sulfuric acid with water, very large amount of heat is liberated. As a result of this, dear children, water gets evaporated. If it is poured into the concentrated sulfuric acid, which may cause an accident. That's why to avoid this, a required amount of water is taken in a glass container and a small amount of heat is liberated at a time. And a small quantity of sulfuric acid at a time is added with mixing. Only a few or a small amount of heat is liberated at a time. That's why we can avoid the accidents by doing such steps. Dear children, now we are going to carry out the small experiment with respect to the endothermic and exothermic chemical reaction. For this, we need the 2 plastic bottles, measuring cylinder, thermometer, potassium nitrate, sodium hydroxide and water. Dear friends, we know very well sodium hydroxide is corrosive in nature. That's why we have to handle it very carefully. I suggest you this experiment you can proceed under your teacher's supervision only. Dear friends, for this we have to take the 100 ml water in 2 different plastic bottles. Plastic is acts as the insulator for heat. That's we know very well. Dear friends, dissipation of heat can be prevented due to the use of plastic bottles. You can note the temperature of water in the bottles. After this, you can put 5 gram potassium nitrate in 1 bottle and shake it well. Record the temperature of the solution. Same way you can proceed for the second bottle. Take the 100 ml water in the second plastic bottle. Add 5 gram sodium hydroxide. Shake the bottle well and note the temperature. What will be your observation? Yes. The first bottle or in the first bottle, the process of dissolution of potassium nitrate took place. While in the second bottle, the process of dissolution of sodium hydroxide took place. As per observation, we can say that during the process of dissolution of potassium nitrate in water, heat from the surroundings is absorbed and therefore the temperature of the resulting solution is less. The process in which the heat is absorbed from the outside, it is called endothermic process. When the solid NaOH is dissolved in water, it is given out. That's why temperature of the solution become increased. The endothermic and exothermic chemical reactions are the reactions that takes place in our surrounding. With the help of such a small experiment or activity, we can able to identify, we can able to classify the different types of chemical reactions as endothermic and exothermic. Dear friends, a lot of energy or a lot of heat exchanged during the chemical reactions. According to some chemical reactions are said to be the exothermic or some are said to be the endothermic. During exothermic chemical reactions, heat is given away when reactants are transformed into the product. While during the endothermic chemical reactions, heat is either absorbed from the surroundings or has been supplied continuously from outside. So this is all about the endothermic and exothermic chemical reactions. I hope so the concept is clear. So dear children, now we are going to talk about the factors affecting the rate of a chemical reaction. First of all, it is very important to know that what is a reaction rate. So dear children, the rate of reaction or the reaction rate is the speed at which the reactants are converted into the products. When we talk about the chemical reactions, it is given fact that rate at which they occur varies by a great deal. Some chemical reactions are nearly instantaneous, while others usually take some time to reach the final equilibrium. Dear children, various factors that can affect the rate of a chemical reactions are nothing but the nature of the reaction. The rate of reaction highly depends on the type and the nature of the reaction. Few reactions are naturally faster than the others, while some reactions are very slow. The physical state of reactants, number of reactants, complexity of reaction, and other factors highly influence the reaction rate as well. The rate of reaction is generally slower in liquids when compared to gases and slower in solids when compared to liquids. Size of the reactant also matters as lot. The smaller the size of reactants, faster the reaction. So this is nothing but the nature of the reaction which affects the rate of chemical reaction. Second factor which affects on the rate of chemical reaction is concentration of the reactants. Dear children, according to the collision theory, the rate of reaction increases with increase in the concentration of the reactants. As per the law of mass action, the chemical reaction rate is directly proportional to the concentration of the reactants. This implies that the chemical reaction rate increases with increase in the concentration and decreases with decrease in the concentration of reactants. Time plays a major role in changing the concentration of reactants and products. Therefore, even time is a vital factor affecting the reaction rate. Temperature is the third factor which affects on the rate of chemical reaction. According to the collision theory, a chemical reaction takes place at a high temperature generates more energy than a reaction at a lower temperature. This is because colliding particles will have the required activation energy at high temperature and more successful collision will take place. There are some reactions that are independent of temperature. Reactions without an activation barrier are examples of chemical reactions that are independent of temperature. Dear children, without temperature, some chemical reactions, their rate becomes slow down. Next factor is the catalyst. Catalyst can be defined as a substance that increases the rate of reaction without actually participating in the reaction. The definition itself describes its effect on chemical reactions. The presence of catalyst increases the speed of reaction in both forward and reverse reaction by providing an alternate pathway which has lower activation energy. Surface area of the reactants also play very important here. Dear children, surface area of the reactants affects the rate of reaction. If the size of a particle is small, the surface area will be more and this increases the speed of heterogeneous chemical reactions. So this is all about the factors which affects the rate of chemical reactions. In the coming videos, we are going to talk about the oxidation and reduction chemical reactions.